Hello and welcome to InterDreamTeam. On a week where Dwight McNeil got very excited about Decore's opening goal against Chelsea, we saw the return of Ange Ball as Spurs brushed a beleaguered Newcastle aside. Unai Emery's Villa train keeps on gaining momentum as they shut out the Gunners and move to third in the table. And there was too many cherries on Ten Hag's pancake as Solanke and co piled on the misery at Old Trafford. We'll be going around the grounds, sharing our carefully collected data as we aim to provide you all with an extra edge to help you conquer the game week. As usual, I'm joined by my old mates, Rob and Ross. How's it going, boys? What are we serving up this week then, Ross?
We've got this, we've got that, we've got everything on toast. So that's what we're going to serve up for you. We're going to have it all there, and it's all going to be nicely prepared and presented for you with a little bit of parsley on top. What are you saying, Rob?
Yeah, could be serving up a bit of ours for you boys. So
good. Who doesn't like a bit of arse?
Classic Rob.
You love it.
Well, in the spirit of Christmas, then, boys. I think I'll be donning the old Christmas wreath this week. How's that? Rob's got his jumper on, and Ross, you're not going to give us a nod towards Christmas?
Well,
happy birthday to the main man, Mr. Christ. So, crack on. So,
all right,
anyway,
then, boys. Well, I'm going to make a start with. I'm going to give you a little tour around Man City and what's been going on at the Etihad. So, as we can see, going into game week 16, their last three results. Nice little win away at Red Star, final Champions League game this week. Basically City reserves, so can't really take anything from that, to be honest with you. But yeah, classic Guardiola, just use the whole squad. And prior to that, we had Luton away, 1-2-1. 18 shots, 6 on target. And Villa lost 1-0. So 2 wins and a defeat in the last 3 games. So obviously, see here that the goalkeeper, we've got 2 options for goalkeeper from the City. Obviously, Edison is the man you're going to be choosing if you've got 3.3 million, and you want to take 3.3 million for your goalkeeper. Average points per game, 3.5. And at the moment, he's performing in the last 3 game weeks at 3.3. So there's better options out there for his money. So yeah, just something to be aware of. So moving on to the defenders, you got your other options, your Walkers, your Akanjis, and your Gvardiols. But City are conceding every week pretty much. So there's no clean sheet bonus. As you can see, no clean sheet bonus for anyone. Gvardiol comes in decent on the tackle bonus, and he's probably your best option in defence. 4.6 points averaging from the last 3 game weeks. So not a bad option. As we move on to the midfielders and the strikers, where we start to see some return from our assets. And clearly Haaland and Foden, if you haven't got them in your team by now, then you're perhaps not really too clued up on football. But but one there to take note if you haven't picked up on the fact that Bernardo Silva is chipping in quite nicely at the moment. So as you can see, boys, we're going to be quite clearly adding Haaland and Foden to our spine. Team's likely to have 4 or 5 players, and who everyone's going to need, and then you build the rest of the team around them. And without Haaland and Foden, you're not going to be in the shake-up. So
if anything, you could say you'd be spineless.
you would be spineless without Haaland and Foden. So yeah, just obviously this weekend we've got City with a single match, and then they miss out next week. So and Haaland is probably unlikely to now play until game week 18. So the brave and bold of you out there may consider taking him out of your team and using that money wisely. But just remember, you're going to need about 8 million to bring him back in for game week 18, because no Haaland, no lovely. Can you give us a little idea of what's happening with the us?
The old arse. Everybody loves a bit of the old arse, don't they? And yeah, they had a funny week, haven't they? They obviously played Aston Villa and lost 1-0, and played in the Champions League. Much changed, obviously, wasn't it, for the dead rubber against PSV? So yeah, not a great week for Arsenal. Got Brighton at home in game 16. Should be some goals flying about in that. And Liverpool away, and West Ham home in game 17. So, you know, potential points. Looking at that. Going through to the old defence and goalkeepers. Obviously, they've kept quite a few clean sheets throughout the season. I think they're the joint lowest Premier League's conceded goals, with Liverpool 15. But for me, there's nobody really standing out. They're all quite expensive. Looking at it, like I say, wouldn't be looking at getting any of them in myself at this very moment in time. Saliba's obviously
So you wouldn't
got the highest points out of the lot of them. So yeah, looking at the attacking options, very much like Man City, really, you got the midfielders and the strikers hogging most of the points. So yeah, looking at that table there, you're looking at Odegaard. He is 5.1 million, 121 points, 7th best midfielder on the game. He was the 5th best midfielder on the game last year. Interestingly, they're playing Brighton, obviously, this weekend. He's got a very good record against them. Has scored 2 in 5 appearances. So he could well pop up on the score sheet, potentially. He's a good differential, but a little bit pricey, for my opinion. So, obviously, talking about Arsenal, and how can we not talk about Arsenal without talking about my boy, Mr. Bukayo Saka? Yeah, there he is, popping up there.
He's in.
Yeah, one word, fine. Yeah. Here's your boy, isn't he? 6.7 million, 176 points, top midfielder on that. So yeah, obviously he didn't add to his tally in Europe this week. One team we don't have to worry about anymore is Newcastle, Ross?
Big time. You don't. And it's been a rough old time for Newcastle. They've got more injuries and I've got hairs on my head. So it's not a good time. They've crashed out of Europe. Lost 2-1 to Milan. They took a drubbing against Spurs. They've lost to Everton. Pretty much all of those games, you'd expect them to have got some points. The big returners haven't really been showing up, and the injuries have made them pay. However, I feel like, the tide could be turning. With 4 games over the next 2 game weeks. I've got no Pope. He's out for probably what will be pretty much the entire season. Dubravka's in. We've not seen much returns for the old Dubravka yet, but
Not yet.
Not yet. I think we can see that changing soon enough. Word of warning: a lot of people got Livramento, been investing in him. Burn is just about back now, still on the injury list, but he's now back. He did come on the other night. He's probably not still fully fit, but he is back,
Okay.
and that probably will signal Livramento disappearing to the subs bench. You also need to look out for Botman, who's going to be due back over Christmas. And with the double game week coming up for this week, I wouldn't say necessarily, you know, it's not going to be too hard to highlight some of their like normal assets, Shah, Trippier in defence. But in the attack, there's a few differentials you can look at. You've got Gordon, Isak, maybe Wilson. But there's Guimaraes, Almiron, and then now, especially with his performance over the last few game weeks, have a little look at Joe Linton. He could be the man. He's big, he's angry, and he scores a lot of points. So
look at the bonus. Look at the bonus points, eh?
Bonuses, tackles, left, right, and centre. He is all over the place. And I think if you're going to invest in an asset in Newcastle that's a little bit different, very low ownership, I think sort of 1.1, 1.2% of people own him. He's a little bit different. A lot of people have got Gordon. Maybe go for Joe Linton, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. Unlike how you would feel if you were a Man United fan right now. Hey, Rob?
Manchester.
No, you two are right. They are terrible.
They are embarrassing.
Yeah, they've had a good week, haven't they? Because they lost at home to Bournemouth 3-0, and then just dumped out of Europe by Bayern. We've got nothing to play for, so you know it's been a good one. And looking at the fixtures going ahead, they've got Liverpool away at the weekend, so nice easy game for them as well. Obviously, you've got West Ham and Aston Villa coming up as well, so some nasty old fixtures on the horizon for them. And yeah, like I say, it's been a real struggle looking through their stats to find any pluses. I mean, Onana's best. He's got the best points for a goalkeeper, but it's just terrible, isn't it? And the defence on the side, so it's just there's just nobody really standing out at all for them. I mean, word of warning for people who've got Fernandes, he is suspended for the Liverpool game. For some reason, I don't know if they've updated or not, but he wasn't showing up as being suspended on the Dream Team app. But I'd get him out of your team for the weekend. He obviously didn't fancy playing against Liverpool game and getting beaten 7-0 like last time. So that's probably why he got next yellow card there. But maybe bringing back for the following game week. But it's debatable at the moment because, you know, he was the best midfielder on the game last year. Currently the best, the fifth best at the moment, but he's not.
I mean, he's Ten Hag's got to be on borrowed time,
without a doubt.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, he looks scared for his own life at times, and you know, probably with good reason.
Man out of mind. So from one team in red to another, yeah. Ross, can you give us the inside info on United's rivals, Liverpool?
Big time. Now, completely different end of the scale here. Liverpool, top of the league, incredibly dangerous. They've got a couple of injuries going on, a bit long term, but that really just gives highlight to some of the players that replace them. Matip out for the season, but that means you're going to see more of Konate and Gomez. Robertson out at left back, but Tsimikas has debutised for him quite nicely and looked pretty dangerous, picking up quite a few like assist points. It's looking pretty rosy for them at the moment, and they're managing to drag players into their team that will score points in the absence of others. You know, you got people in there like Gakpo, who's come in and now starting to look a little bit better. And, you know, whereas perhaps someone who you would have expected, especially with his electric preseason, would have been Nunes. But he's not really been looking too good. Can't, you know, hit a barn door at times. So assets-wise in defence, I was saying Trent Alexander-Arnold is just, you know, he is so dangerous. He is incredibly expensive. Number 2 in his position for the whole game. But yeah, it's going to be very hard for you not to own him, especially with the extra fixtures coming up over the next couple of game weeks. They've got United next up. They absolutely tore their souls out and left them with a 7-0 deficit last time. And I can see something similar happening again. I think they're going to absolutely destroy them. And, you know, they then got, you know, a Carling Cup match straight after again, another home game against West Ham. So I think we're looking at
Yeah.
points there. Points and goals and left, right and centre. Salah, is he ever not up in the, you know, the top 2 or 3 in the game? Really, he's just consistent. He probably is just one of the best wide players in the world and has been for a long time. Grossly underrated at pretty much all times. But if you don't have Salah and probably Trent Alexander-Arnold, what are you doing? Is what I'm asking you. What are you doing? Why are you playing? Because there they are. They're in there. You've got to have them, and I think really for this coming game week, it would be remiss of you to maybe not have 2 to maybe 3 Liverpool assets. Maybe have a little look at Sabbatslai. He's, you know, picking up a few points in there, and maybe you could instead maybe you could add another defender, you know, like a Van Dijk or maybe Simicast. Just to get a couple more assets, because I don't know, I can't really see United scoring against them personally. But you know, looking on the bright side of life, Brighton. What are you saying, Saul?
Right. So, did you know this? In game week 15, after the 1-1 draw with Burnley, Brighton became the first team to score and concede in 20 consecutive top flight fixtures. What about that?
They are.
So, what's been happening? They beat Brentford 2-1 in game week 14 at home, drew 1-1 with Burnley, game week 15, and obviously picked up a nice 1-0 against Marseille tonight in the final Europa League game. So, did that secure them top spot in the league?
I think so. Yeah.
So, we're going to move on to the goalkeeper options, and obviously De Zerbi likes to rotate these two quite often, and they never keep a clean sheet, like I say. So 20 games in a row. So yeah, I mean, there's no real value to having any of these keepers in your team. So I think we'll just move swiftly on from the 2 options from Brighton. Going into the defence, it's a similar story. The clean sheets just aren't there again. The average game week points aren't too bad from the last 3 for Van Hecke, Duncan, and Julio, but you know, I think we only really look at the Estupiñán option when he's fit. So yeah, keep away from the Brighton defence. To be honest with you, there's a far more better value out there to be had elsewhere. But as we move into midfield and the front line, we're going to see João Pedro and Pascal Gross are 2 very good assets, and yeah, very good returns from Pedro in the last 3 game weeks. He scored 5 goals, averaging just over 2 shots a game, and yeah, he's looking like a guy who's really settled into that role now. So yeah, potentially, if you haven't got him in your team, I would be very seriously considering a transfer of João Pedro. And then we've got Pascal Gross there as well, who just seems to chip in every week, just chipping away, regardless of whether he's playing fullback or midfield. He's the glue that holds it all together, and he drives that team forward, and it reflects in his points. So yeah, Brighton not bad on the fixtures coming up. They got obviously Arsenal away, which isn't ideal, but I can see there's going to be attack and returns, because they will score and they will concede. And then they go away to Palace, and then they've got Spurs at home. So once again, we know what happens with Spurs, that there'll be goals. So we're going to go off to the Olympic Stadium and see how the Hammers are getting on.
Yeah, so West Ham, they've started up the week very poorly. The old Fulham absolutely tanked by them, wasn't it? It was 5-0 against them. So Moyes will be having the old defenders watching Phil Jagielka highlights on YouTube, probably. Sort them out, boys. Tonight was much better. 2-0 in the Europa against Freiburg. So positives for them. They've got Wolves at home, game week 16 in the Premier League, and they play Liverpool away in the old Carabao Cup as well. And also game week 17, it's got Man United at home, so potentially could beat them. And they're playing Arsenal away, which is a tricky one. So whatever happens, I think they're going to be scoring goals. The attacking players are the ones that we often look at West Ham. They're the ones who I think will still get points. Like I say, you go for the goalkeepers, and I think Ario is back now, but he's not really. They're not just don't really keep clean sheets, do they? A lot of the defenders, I say, apart from tonight, I can't really remember the last time they kept a clean sheet. So they're just very. But I think the best scoring defender was on 50 odd points. So it just goes to show you really that mainly they're getting their points from their midfielders. So
Big time.
there we go. Right.
There they are, just by magic.
There they are. Good. Yeah. So obviously we've got the main man, Jared Cohen, 5.3 million, 143 points now. 7th best midfielder on the game last season in total, and now he's currently the 3rd best midfielder this season. Pretty much is a striker. So even if he was a striker on this game, he'd actually only be behind the big two, Salah and Haaland. So he'd be the 3rd place ahead of Watkins and Alvarez. Got more points than them. So yeah, good, strong argument to say he could be a spine player. Really, he's getting very, very close. He's playing obviously. He's definitely up there. He's knocking on the door, and he's playing against Wolves this weekend. Has got a very good record against Wolves. Actually, has scored in 4 out of 8 career games against them before. So, definitely, I'd be recommending to get him in, especially with doubts over Haaland and his fitness at the moment. And obviously, we've got a double game week coming up for them. So, it's a tempter. Talking about other players in this West Ham midfield, we've got James Ward-Prowse at 4.4 million. He has got now 131 points. He was the 19th best midfielder on the game last season at relegated Southampton. Currently the 4th best midfielder on the game. Just a very good option to have, isn't he? I mean, obviously a very steady Eddie. Isn't going to get you loads of points in one go, but just consistent, and he's right up there at the moment. Now, worth noting, Dequette's obviously got quite a lot of points, over 100, but he's gone a little bit off form recently. But somebody who is very much in form has scored tonight, Mr. Mohamed Kudus, at 4.3 million, has now got 106 points. But he's pretty much playing up front, isn't he, at the moment, boys? Like I say, he scored tonight, and he's averaged over the last 3 game weeks 13.67 points. So he is
huge returns.
Yeah, great returns, and a differential, because looking at his ownership, it's only currently 1.4% of Dream Team managers. Well, I think that will probably go up, at least with us 3, won't it, over the weekend? So, yeah, great option to have, and so like I say, with that one, from one team in Claret and Blue to another, Ross, you got some figures on the old Villa, haven't you?
Yeah, the villains, they have got, assets galore. They're a different team this year. Unai Emery has just got them playing a different breed, of football. Couple of early word of warnings for this, this coming week. It's not the best. They've only got one fixture, tricky away fixture at Brentford coming up. Not ideal for them. missing a couple of key players. They've got 2 suspensions, one for Douglas Luiz, another one for Lucas Digne. So that will need to be a consideration when you're looking at them coming up. But they have got players in their team that I think most will be really needing to look at. If you want a keeper that's solid, some pretty heavy save stats, Martinez is starting to come into his own. I mean, he's amassed 72 points, only 25 or so off the top performing goalkeeper, and yet they've been absolutely devoid of clean sheets until the last 2 to 3 game weeks, where they suddenly picked up a couple. So if they do start to string a few clean sheets together, then you can see him shooting right up that board and becoming probably in the top 3 keepers in the game. So keep your eyes on him. Defense wise, yeah, there's been some decent performances and some unsung heroes. Conser, he's sort of been, chucked in at right back with Cash missing. He will play centre back. He's on the cheap side, 3.1. He's definitely worth considering. He's picking up points. He's nearing the 100-point mark now, which is pretty good for a defender. I think you want to look at him because, like I say, he can play right back, can play centre back, and they are starting to look quite solid. I just wouldn't be jumping at a defensive option for Villa just for the next game week, but I think it's definitely something to keep your old eyes peeled. Where do you start really with their attacking options? You've got so many different ways to go here, but you've got some consistent performers, and the man who has come in, he's still scored good points, but hasn't quite realised his potential yet, Diaby, but he is absolutely rapid and he can pick up a lot of points, but probably not right now. You don't really want him in your team because you need to have probably, if you're looking at midfield, you want to be looking no further than the old McGinn. His tackles, his assists, his goals, he is everywhere.
How does he do it? How does he do it?
Sort of a, don't know. There you've got it. He's done it. Yeah, he is. And he's literally burgling defences at the moment, and he's getting everywhere. So if you want somebody a little bit different, I would say you want to be putting John McGinn in pretty sharp. He maybe, again, perhaps not this game week, but you might want to be thinking about him. He's not a huge amount of money either, coming in at 3.8. And a very consistent performer. If he wasn't suspended, would be Douglas Luiz. Got penalties as well. Very, very consistent. Bailey's obviously had a couple of game weeks in there, or a couple of games where he's had a lot of points, but he's a little bit in and out. He's a bit more of a risk, but he's obviously talented. And Watkins, a lot of people's, third striker. So he's consistent. Loads of points at the back end of last season. He's right up there. So number 4 in the whole game. So you got to be keeping a close eye on him. And what I would be saying is you'll be wanting to have at least two Villa options for game week 17. They are playing Sheffield United. Sheffield United will be coming to Villa, and they are going to take a spanking. So watch out for that. Maybe plan your transfers. Solidify your team a little bit and get a couple of Villa players in for game week 17, or you will be punished. So let's move over to the Big Tens. Big Tens, these are the best of the rest from the 12 teams outside those European places, although 2 of them have taken an untimely demise this week. What are we saying about these boys?
Well, I mean, I just want to mention, obviously, they're not really glamorous players, but let's talk about the Bournemouth assets right now. So Bournemouth, massively in-form team, incredible result at the weekend at Old Trafford, something I'm guessing, we all enjoyed. And their fixtures are great. So in the next 3 games, they've got Luton at home, Forest away, and Fulham at home. So
Yeah, let's have a look. Have a quick flick over to the ticker, as you
yeah,
say.
Luton away. Luton at home, Forest away, Fulham at home, and they're coming into those games on a run. I think they're five undefeated, and only one of them was a draw, and that's off the back of the Old Trafford win as well. So these guys are now suddenly ticking over, and one of the main reasons for that is this Ryan Christie in midfield. We can just pop to the Big Tens, Ross. Ryan Christie, tackle points and bonus points. Now this guy is breaking up the play in midfield. He's just a gem for them, and I don't know what's happened. I don't know where it's come from, but he's the main reason for their upturn in form. What's happened to Rob?
We see
we've got
he's cloned himself.
We've got double Rob.
He's come back as a double.
I like it.
So double Rob. If anything,
yeah,
that is twice the fun. So good.
This is the gift that keeps on giving. Oh, he's gone.
Just back to the one, Rob.
Oh,
so
the twins gone.
So you've got
good looking, isn't he?
You've got right. So you got you got three options there from the Bournemouth boys. You got Senesi, and he's obviously a defensive option. Ryan Christie in midfield, and then obviously Solanke up front. And with those fixtures, I'm actually finding myself considering one of those chaps for my transfers this week. So something to be mindful of. Bournemouth all of a sudden pulling up trees.
Yeah, you got to watch out for them. They, fixtures and everything else, they're doing very well. I'd also, in the same kind of vein, highlight Everton. They've, been absolutely, had the win put up and by the points to deduction, and they've decided to try and prove everyone that they can still stay in the Premier League, and I think they'll do it with ease. Michaelenko has been completely under the radar, but consistently picking up points left, right, and centre. One of the best performing defenders in the game. And then, Dwight McNeil suddenly popping up with the old magic left foot. So, return of the king. What you got to say about Heung-min Son, Rob? What do you reckon to him?
I think he's going to have a good time on Friday night in Nottingham. So.
Big time. Yeah.
Gonna go to Hooters.
He's going to be taking names.
He's going to be a popular man.
He is dangerous. Watch out for Chelsea. We've got Fernandes on there. His stats, he's been one of their best performers, but they've got a few assets maybe you want to have a little look at for this coming week.
Chelsea obviously sitting top of the fixture ticker. And their fixtures are amazing, and all you need is just one of their players to put a consistent run together. But it's a punt. It's got to be a punt because their form's terrible.
Well, that's the thing. But talking of punts, we're getting on to the top 5 transfers for this week. Here they come. So, as we've already said, Heung-min Son, he's consistent. Yeah. He is their striker. He takes their penalties. He is
now on penalties.
Dangerous. Yeah. They may only have one fixture, but I think he'll probably take advantage of it. Next on the list, Joe Linton. He again is dangerous. They've got double fixtures. I think Newcastle will probably bounce back, especially with the home. And he's just, he's someone you probably want to get in.
G'day, Rob.
All right, mate. I just went to the toilet. So.
Just in time to tell us about Raheem Sterling.
Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, why you got Sterling on there? Why you got Sterling on there, Rob?
Why? Good question. Why we got Sterling there? Yeah. So you're looking at his stats and you're going, is he actually in form? Probably not. But as we know, he does like playing against the sort of low end of the table teams, the teams who usually in like the bottom 3, bottom 4.
And obviously, if you do take a punt on Sterling with the Sheffield United fixture, you also get the Carabao Cup fixture, so double game week for Chelsea in game week 16. So off the back of that, you've got Wolves away, Palace at home, Luton away, Preston at home in the Cup, and then Fulham at home. So if you do take a punt on him and it comes good, you can just leave him in there for 5 weeks, and there could be some lovely hauls. Or tasty.
Tasty stuff. So we go from transfers, we go to captains, and
yes,
there they are, little lovelies. We've got the double Liverpool with a little side of the Joe Linton punt. All good fixtures.
It speaks for itself. Speaks for itself, doesn't it?
I mean, I don't think you'll go too far wrong with captaining either of the Liverpool players. I think they're just on such form at the moment, aren't they?
Well, we've just sat here as well and said we wouldn't be surprised to see another 7-0 drubbing of Man United by Liverpool. So
yeah, I want to see it. You know what? And I want to see it. I've absolutely had enough of Man United. And they deserve what they're going to get. They go and spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds on shit players, and they get what they deserve. And most of the time, they've had poor managers and make bad decisions. But we'll move on to the bonus chips. I think we'll probably, you can safely say that it's not going to be a very good week to use any of these. There's a few little options. You got to remember, the basis of the chips. Park the bus, double points for all your defenders. You're going to need 5 in your defence. 12th man, extra man, speaks for itself. Max captain, whoever scores the most points gets double. Well, all right, boys.
All right, well, is that all you got for me then?
That's what we've got, and that's what we've got for this week. And we'll have something similar next week, you bloody lovely bastards.
All right, boys. Well, what are we now? 10 days till Christmas, so we're starting to get towards the present giving time of the year, and hopefully we'll be gifted in points this weekend. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure as always, boys. Great to see you. And if you want to follow us and you've enjoyed the video, you can head over to our socials, and we'll be at InterDreamTeam on most of the platforms. So give us a look, give us a follow, give us a like. That would be greatly appreciated. Because right now, we got no fans, and we want some, yeah? We bloody want some.
So give us some.
All right, boys.
Please.
Well, it's a good night from me, and may the points be with you.
And with you.